'Tis the season, y'all. Hey guys, Izzy here, back with another Warframe video, and today I wanted to talk about a Warframe that not only fits the season, but it's also a long-time favorite of mine. Today, we'll be going over Frost. We'll talk about its abilities, its utility, and how I typically run this ice-cold Warframe to make it work. Frost is an amazing early Warframe to have, as it makes clearing the star shard solo or with randoms incredibly easy. Frost can make missions such as interceptions, excavations, defense, and mobile defenses a cakewalk, and it's not even a difficult Warframe to build or even use. Now, that's not to say that that's all this Warframe is good for. Frost can seem like an almost strictly defensive Warframe due to its kit having a plethora of crowd control options, as an ice Warframe should, honestly, and its snow globe ability allowing for a protective sphere around the area you so choose. Frost also has incredible supportive traits in his avalanche ability, which allows it to not only stagger and freeze large crowds of enemies, but also removes their armor. In addition to this, its Icy Avalanche outfit allows for an additional coat of protection, kind of like an iron skin, but flimsier. It allows for you and your allies to have a layer of added protection, as this layer goes above shields, meaning your shields will remain intact until it runs out, and it also provides status immunity so long as you still have it active. Keeping it active is not a hard thing to do either, as you'll be using this ability a lot to clear rooms. Frost's abilities mainly scale off of power strength and range. For Snow Globe, it depends on what faction you're facing off against, but we'll go over that when we're talking about that build. They also scale off of duration, however, default duration is fine on Frost. Most of the time, frozen enemies will get killed pretty quickly, but you could run duration for a full crowd control build, which can be good for versus Corpus, as armor isn't much of a problem with them. You also want efficiency to keep spamming your abilities as much as possible, or as much as it's really needed, honestly. This is my Icy Avalanche build. I am running very low duration on this build, as I am trying to have as much efficiency as possible, and this build in general does not need duration at all. The power strength is enough to remove 100% armor with corrosive protection equipped after the negative power strength from overextended. However, you can run some additional power strength over fast deflection, or rely on your mold augmented and replace the aura mod to whichever you prefer. You can also just change fast deflection to whatever you need, to be honest. I'm running rolling guard and redirection for survivability, with the addition to Icy Avalanche outfit to keep my Frost safe. The range is enough to cover most rooms to get the best out of your Avalanche cast, thus making you have to recast it much less. Even though this build is not centered around Snow Globe, it's still good to use for survivability purposes, as it can push away enemies and clear the crowded area around you and protect you from outside projectiles. For arcanes, I like Energize and Mold Augmented. However, Mold Augmented can be changed to any arcane you like or find more usage out of, like some of the newer arcanes that were actually introduced in lieu of Prey. For example, Frostbite or Blessing are particularly really good, and they synergize well with Frost and provide either survivability or more damage. It's also worth mentioning that I am running 2 Archon shards on my Frost, which aren't really needed, but do add the ability to spam abilities. I am running an orange and blue shard for both ability speed and energy max. And when I say ability speed, I mean like the recast. I wouldn't say it's necessary to slap one on Frost, but if you have extras or just want to use Frost a lot, I'd say it's definitely worth doing so. Now, this is another Icy Avalanche build, but this one is a bit more offensive. Instead of running overextended, I am running just stretch. While I do sacrifice blind rage, I opted to run several power strength mods to keep my duration at default That way I keep Rhino's roars at 30 seconds, and the power strength here is just enough to actually strip 100% armor. However, you can run less and again rely on mold augmented or run corrosive protection. The build is quite similar to the prior one, but less range, which is fine considering you're getting buffs from both the Rhino Roar and Biting Frost, which I haven't explained raises the critical chance and damage on frozen enemies, which is why the default duration is so important here. You can run more duration if you'd like, but the default 8 seconds frozen should be enough to clear the room, or most of it at least. For weapons, you can pretty much run anything you'd like, honestly. I opted to run the Ceto with Pyro plus Heat, but you can run other combinations and do just fine. Corrosive wouldn't be too helpful considering you're already stripping their armor, so it's best to focus on their flesh or whatever it is that you have to focus on, in my opinion. These two builds work exceptionally well in both solo and team play. It also works very well at high level play like Steel Path or Arbitrations from my own experience, and it actually is quite fun to just freeze rooms and clear them while also using the majority of your abilities to keep yourself and allies alive. Also, it is worth mentioning though that these builds do not synergize well with comps that have Warframes who rely on Rage or Hunter Adrenaline as their way of gaining energy. So keep that in mind when playing with others and adjust to however you see fit best for the team. Now, let's actually talk about Snow Globe. For Snow Globe, like I had mentioned previously, the range varies depending on what faction you're facing off against. For the most part, you want a default range for the likes of Grenadier and Corpus. However, I run Stretch to take advantage of Avalanche, but for Infested in particular, you want a lot of range to slow the fuckers down, as Infested don't usually shoot many projectiles and instead charge at the objective, so the bigger the globe, the more time they're actually slowed before getting to the objective. And by having Chilling Globe, you have a 50% chance of freezing them when they enter the globe. I am running Transient Fortitude, but you can run an unmaxed or maxed out Blind Rage, and it will do the trick just fine and won't mess with your duration for Roar and the freeze duration, though it will mess up the ability to spam Snow Globe, so keep that in mind. Redirection is sort of a preference. You can honestly run this with Vitality or Redirection, really whichever makes you feel more comfortable, as you typically will want to stay inside your globe to keep recasting it whenever it gets weakened, or, you know, for the most part, just to protect yourself. For Arcanes, you can really run anything you'd like for Frost, but Mold Augmented is great to have an additional power strength for your globe. This build is good for regular defense missions, interceptions, excavations, and mobile defenses like I mentioned previously, but can also work for higher level missions like in Steel Path and Arbitration if it's really needed, because, you know, you can really adjust the build to whatever it is that you typically do for survivability, and it keeps the objectives relatively safe, so it's something that can definitely work. Now, fun fact about Frost, I used to run Frost to do Heracon for around an hour or so every single day, at least once back when Endo was actually fusion cores, because I believed it was the best way to not only get fusion cores, but also get void keys and gold mods and whatever. Of course, the void keys being the relics that we have now. This made Frost into one of my favorite Warframes at the time, and also made excavations into one of my favorite mission types to do. As crazy as it might sound, I found running excavations with clan members and friends a lot of fun, just working together and tackle 2 or 3 excavators at the time with the comps that we came up with, I guess. And that's about it. That's Frost for y'all. An amazing defense Warframe with great utility that are both supportive to the team and deadly to the enemies. I haven't seen many Frost players in-game recently, so I definitely wanted to shine the spotlight on him a bit and encourage more Tenno to try him out. I hope you learned something new today from this video, and hopefully I made you want to try Frost out. If you liked the video, please consider leaving a like and subscribing, because I do have a lot of Warframe content planned out pretty soon, and you know, you might not want to miss it. Hope you guys enjoyed today's video, and I'll definitely be seeing you on the next one. Thank you so much for the amazing support. This year has been phenomenal, and I wouldn't be able to express exactly how grateful I am for you guys. So yeah, thank you guys so much. Take care. Merry Christmas to y'all. Peace.